first. Start Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, it looks like Neil is in for Turris. What are you looking for from James Neal?
You know what? He's worked really hard in practice. I mean, he missed a month coming into the season. He needs to continue to get himself up to speed. And, he's had 2 or 3 days of real good, hard practice here. So looking to come in and just continue to build his game, get it back to where he was last year.
You're 7-2 in your last 9 games, and the 2 losses you allowed 6 goals, but your team's played really well for a good stretch here. Are you much more comfortable and confident in your team's ability to play sound defensively?
Yeah, I mean we've continued to build and it's not just defensively, it's offensively. Our special teams. I think we. You look at it, start of the year, it's hard. No exhibition games, and you're trying to get your group up and going. And as we've gone along, I give our players a ton of credit. They've continued to try to get better, to try to push things along in our game that needed improvement. And they've done that, and we've continued to get better. So hopefully we're on the right path. I think there's still lots of room for growth in our group, but it's moving in the right direction.
Rob Chichkowski, Post Media.
Dave, when you're sitting out a veteran player, I mean, they always get a little bit more leash because they are veterans. But leading up to something like that with Turris, is there conversations that take place? Do you tell him in advance, like, listen, we need to see you pick things up a little bit?
No, there's just as a conversation that you explain why you've gone with the lineup you have, and explain to him. I'm a big believer in just being honest with guys and tell them this is why we made the decision. This is what we're doing. And you have that conversation that you keep, that stays between you and the player, and you move on.
We're finding in these series that getting a sweep is really difficult. Other than the Ottawa series, I think your 5 or your 6 have been sweeps. Do you notice a difference in the team that loses the first game when you play the second one, whether it's you guys or the other team?
Well, I think that's probably human nature. When you lose, I don't know. It's just the urgency or whatever. I like to think you got to have the urgency in both games, but it's human nature. You lose one, you got to come out the next day and find a way to win. And we've been in that situation both ways. So it's everybody understands. Everybody's going through the same thing. So it's ability to go out and find ways to win. And sometimes you get the first one, you're going to have to win a different way the next night. So it's always in the back of your mind. I think those points this year, with everything being so tight, I think that second game, if you can get the first one, the second game becomes real bonus points. So, we'll take it game by game, but I agree with you in the fact that the second games are big points.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Dave, look from the skate like Mike Smith is going tonight. Is that the case?
Yeah.
So you had an opportunity here to get him into a few starts in a row. And I know with a game tomorrow, obviously you're going to go right, a good chance you go right back to Koskinen. And maybe just, can you discuss the decision-making with Smith and the chance to get him a string of games here to maybe give him that feeling of being up and running?
Well, it is. Again, you go back to no exhibition games, and he missed a month, so you got to try to get him up and going as quick as you can. I think our team is strongest when we have both guys playing well. So we got to get Schmidt some starts here, and it's twofold: get Schmidt some starts and get Koski a little bit of rest for the load that he carried early in the year.
Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, Larson and Russell had a pretty sound game for you last game. You've kind of made that a defensive pairing, even when it was Legason, a lot of D-zone starts. What do you like about that pair? And are you feeling more comfortable, whether it's Legason or Russell, to just have them pretty much as defensive zone guys?
Yeah, Larson's played real well. He's a guy that doesn't get talked about much, but he's played real well for us. So he's kind of the anchor there. And Legason played well. Rusty came in and played well last game. We're looking for just solid players, and both those guys have to be main penalty killers for us. So they've Larson's kind of been an anchor there, but that pair has played well.
Thanks.
If there are no more questions, this concludes Dave Tippett's media availability. Thank you. you have questions, please use the raise hand function. Rob Kichkowski, Post Media.
Hi, Tyson. Just a few players and coaches have already mentioned that, how as the season goes on, they start to miss just having a crowd in the building. Do you get a sense of that? Like, what do you miss about not having fans inside the rink, especially for something like a Battle of Alberta?
Yeah, obviously we miss them. It's a huge part of the game and a huge part of the atmosphere. And there's nothing quite, like coming out to start the game and everyone's going crazy. And whether it's the towels or, you get into a game and there's a big goal or a big hit or whatever, you notice that stuff. And we definitely miss the fans, but, we're fortunate to be able to play and hopefully they're enjoying watching on TV. So we'll be grateful when we get them back though.
When the building's as quiet as it is and you can hear everything that's going on the other bench, guys yelling across the ice and stuff, does shit talk take a bigger factor in what goes on out there?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. It might work against you a little bit. The crowd gets, gets everybody fired up. It gets you into the game. And when the crowd's kind of going crazy, maybe you're a little more inclined to say something to somebody. But it's just so quiet out there. If you're going to yell at someone, you definitely hear it.
Jack Michael, 630 Chad.
Tyson, the last 3 weeks with Darnell Nurse, has that pairing and the steadiness of that pairing enabled you to settle in a little bit and get all facets of your game up and running?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're playing well together, and I certainly enjoy playing with him. And he's such a solid defender and a good puck mover, so makes it easy for me. And I'm just trying to find holes and jump in when I can and be that guy joining the rush. And I think it's going well.
And at about the same point in time, you have Evan Bouchard stepping into the lineup who, has never met a shot he doesn't like. He's just firing away. Can that be contagious when you see a younger player step in with no fear and fire away? Because it seems like even your shot output has ratcheted up significantly in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe. I think Bush is definitely doing a great job, and I don't quite have a shot like he does, but I think I'd shoot it a lot more if I could fire it like that. So you just try to take your shots when you're in good positions, and you're not always shooting to score. You're shooting to create some loose pucks and some hoping for traffic. So I think Bush has done a great job, and I think we're all conscious of trying to get the puck on net and create some scrambles for these forwards.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
So you're solidifying yourself here. You're playing well. You found a role here. This long into your tenure last season, it wasn't like that. You were struggling in Toronto for sure. You're telling us that earlier. It must be nice for you. Do you feel like you're in a good spot here? Do you feel like this year is turning out the way you hoped it would turn out?
Yeah, I think so. I think definitely finding a role here and starting to get comfortable and playing pretty well and starting to mesh with the guys. So hopefully, other people see that the same way. And, the success of the team is great for the individual. So if we can keep rolling and winning some games, it's a big week for us here. So it'll be nice.
Thank you.
Tony Brar, Oilers TV.
Hey, Tyson, your team has the most first period goals in the National Hockey League so far this season, and your opponent in the bottom half in that regard. And you guys are also 7-2 when scoring first. Can you maybe talk about what happens to the team when you get on the board first and what the feeling is on the bench and on the ice?
Yeah, it's probably just a confidence thing. I think we're obviously doing the right things to prepare and we're ready to play at puck drop. And that's if you can get a jump on a team early, that's great. And if you score a few in the first period, it's just good for confidence and kind of gets everybody going into the game.
Is that a little bit more heightened when you're in a visiting arena?
For sure. You know the other team's going to come out hard, and usually you have the opposing fans to deal with, so that's a bit different. But you definitely have to focus on your starts, especially on the road.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes Tyson Barrie's media availability. If you have questions, please use the raise hand function. Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Hey, Jujhar. Just wanted to ask about the physical element in tonight's game. It's a Battle of Alberta, and obviously, I guess intensity is a good thing. And how do you take it upon yourself to make sure you're on the right side of those intensity battles?
Yeah, I think early on, just kind of setting the tone early. I think they're coming off a loss, and they're gonna want to win this one, and we just have to set the tone early and stick to our game plan.
You've put a string of real solid games together, kind of solidifying yourself into that third line center spot in this moment. What do you think's gone well for you, Jujhar, and why do you think you've been able to find that consistency the way you have lately?
I've just been sticking to how I need to play. I got to be strong on the ice and good defensively and good on the forecheck. We have guys that can score, and the third, fourth line, we have to be checking lines that produce as well, but also are, we gain trust from the coaches.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
You are definitely, it looks like you've taken a step this year, Jujhar. You're a more consistent player. There's no swings in your game right now. It seems like you know what you're going to get every time. Anything different this year? Anything changed? Did you do anything that we wouldn't know about that's different from the years before?
No, I just, came in with a plan this year. I knew how I wanted to play, and I just stayed true to that. I think, it took a couple of games at the beginning, but, working hard in practices and creating good habits and bringing those over to the game.
And there's certainly a role when you play Calgary for a big physical centerman. And generally, it's games like this one where Calgary's a little bit desperate, where they're going to say, hey, we need our physical players to step up. Do you embrace that?
Yeah, I think these games are a lot of fun. I think, when both teams are going out there playing physical, I think, us big guys, we enjoy these games, and, it's our chance to set the tone. And, it's going to be a grindy game, and that's what, we have to stick to. And, it's just setting the tone early.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Jujhar, did you notice any difference last game where Ennis was not on your line and Cahoon was? Are they the same sort of player?
They're definitely different in their ways, but they're both fantastic players. I think it's tough to stay off one game, especially the game we had last game. There wasn't much flow to it, and there wasn't much opportunity shift after shift to get a forecheck going or anything like that. But I enjoyed playing with both of them, and that last game I really enjoyed playing with Cahoon.
And how much pleasure do you take in killing penalties, because you're awfully good at it?
Yeah, I take pride in it. That's one thing that that's a role I've embraced, and that's a role that I want to be trusted at and be good at. It's just like guys on the power play. They take pride in that, and penalty kill is just as big in a game, especially in this league. So just if I can embrace that role and really take pride in it, I think that gets extra minutes, and it builds confidence for myself going into the 5-on-5 shifts.
Final question, Jack Michael, 630 Chad.
Jujhar, can you give me some insight into your thought process during that 2-week period when you weren't in the lineup and you were waiting for that next chance with a lot of numbers ahead of you at one point? What was kind of that process look like, and what did you work on in those 2 weeks to be ready when the chance came?
Yeah, I was just working on habits that helped my game. It was simple. It was the coaches were great. They they would work. They would stay after practices and all that. And my mindset hadn't changed. I looking at the big picture, I know where I want to be. And there's ups and downs in this league. And for me, it was just kind of keeping a clear mind and focusing on what I needed to do.
Thank you. This concludes Jujhar Khaira's media availability.